Is Ford doomed because of price increases and no longer being able to sell vehicles because of those price increases? Well, I'm at a dealer and I'm here to explain to you exactly what's going on because, well, there is this notion that Ford is doomed because they can't sell any vehicles with these price increases. So I'm on the lot to talk data, what's really going on, and also visually what we see. Because what we see here, of course, is yes, we've got a whole lot of trucks for sale, and it could give you the impression that Ford can't sell them. This big long row of F-150s, almost as many as there used to be back in 2019. Actually, in 2019, there would have been all trucks in this row right here as well as over there where those vans are. So there are definitely less trucks, but it almost appears like these trucks never move. You know, we've got Lightnings here and people often comment, boy, you can't get those Lightnings sold, or those F-150s, you sure do have a lot of selection and they don't move, so they must not be selling. The reality is these vehicles actually do sell, but they get replaced. Every week we have more trucks coming in. So every week we have a delivery of new trucks coming in. So trucks go out, trucks come in. Earlier this week, this line here was full. There were cars here, they've all sold. Those empty spots, those are vehicles that have sold. You see some empty spots here in the trucks. Got about 3 empty spots here in the trucks, and we had, this was all F-150s. All these empty spots here were F-150s, and they all sold this week. So what's really going on? Is Ford having a horrible time selling trucks? Because yes, the prices did increase. The monthlies have gone out of the budget of some clients that used to buy F-150s. It's no longer in their budget unless they've got an F-150 on trade. The used values on the F-150s have exploded. So let's talk more about it. I'm currently standing in the spot of what was a Bronco Sport. So there have been comments in certain videos that Ford can't sell Bronco Sports. Well, it's because we have a constant non-stop supply of them. So this was the spot of a Bronco Sport. It's actually selling pretty well. And the new Escape, which I think looks great. Less of a fan of the old one, not for me, but the new styling of the Escape is great, and they are actually selling really well. Some gasoline Escapes are coming as inventory because all the plugins are actually sold well in advance. You've got many months of wait times, at least in my area, for a plug-in Escape. But let's give a little look to this new model Escape ST line and talk actual data on sales, not just at this dealership, but across the USA. That's your brand new Escape ST line. That is the value model to get. So this one's $39,100 Canadian. Fantastic new styling, and they are gonna sell well. So far they're being very well received. Inventory is moving fast and hard, and Ford is actually America's best-selling brand in Q1, so of 2023. The first 3 months, they are number one with total vehicle sales of 456,972. That's up 10.7% on the strength of icons like the F-Series, Bronco, and Mustang, and commercial vehicles and EVs. So yes, some of these sales are coming out and are going well because there are more commercial sales. That's also because Ford focused more on clients the last 2 years while there is, scarcity of goods, and now they're having to fulfill those fleet sale contracts. Now, Ford does become America's #1 selling truck manufacturer, with sales up 19.6% and outselling GM's combined truck and van sales by about 27,000. So what else can we say? We can say that Ford is actually moving these vehicles, even though we can tell here. Let's check this out. Prices have gone up. Here's a Lariat. Power Boost means 3.5 liter twin turbo EcoBoost with electric motor, 570 pound-feet of torque, and that is $93,500. Now that is Canadian, so it's about 30% more than your American price. But let's check out what else we've got here. We've got right here, let's check out this F-150. So your regular F-150 XLT Sport model. It says FX4 in the back, but you can tell it's a Sport because of the mags and the interior. It's got the shifter between the 2 seats. $74,355. That is a lot of money. This truck was $10,000 less as a 2022 model. You've got a Lightning here, and let's see what the Lightning costs. The Lightning is $93,000. You'll have to take my word for that because I can see it's a little hard to see here. $93,130, and it is a Lariat standard range battery. Now, unfortunately, on the Lightnings, whether you get XLT or extended or a Lariat, you've got the same mag, so not a lot of differentiation there. I think Ford could have done that a little different, and I'm hoping to see that change. And here, $93,000, you've got another one. Now, some of these were available because their orders are coming in and they're canceling because they expected, I guess, to get full range even when you're towing. I covered that the date of the reveal. I talked about what the likely weight of the vehicle would be and that in the winter you would cut in half. And I also predicted that when you tow, you'd easily, if you tow the weight of the vehicle, I predicted these to weigh 6,500 to 7,000 pounds, and I did predict that you'd lose half your range. But the price, I guess not everyone was watching because a lot of people are canceling these because when their excuse is, well, when you tow, it's not a truck. But when you hauling barely, putting a ton of weight in the bed back there barely affects your range. So this is a great hauling truck. Yes, it does kill autonomy really quickly when you are towing, but if you want a Platinum, you're looking at 123,000 Canadian for the Platinum, about 30% less if you're buying with US dollars instead of these loon backs that we've got here. Platinum changes up the grill, changes up the mags, and then we go over to the Lariat. Whether you have the extended range or the standard range, you're getting the same. I would have liked to have seen maybe this light bar be a little different. Not sure how I feel about the light bar. Lit up, it looks absolutely amazing, but it does look pretty plasticky. And on the Lariats, you do get a grill that does look like almost flat plastic. So let's get back to actual data, because if you just look at what's on the lots at dealers, we could assume, hey, this dealer has had this Explorer now for over a month. Ford must be doomed. The prices make it so that they can't sell them. These Explorer STs are now 72,000 Canadian. But the actual reality of it is that Ford is doing actually a pretty good job selling and moving these vehicles because everybody's prices have increased. And yes, the price increases are a little insane, but it's the same everywhere. And at least Ford is actually coming back to normal when it comes to actual pricing. So we've got Ford EV sales. They grew 41% in the first quarter on sales of 10,866 electric vehicles. The F-150 sales totaled 4,191 pickups, with production capacity actions on track to hit an annual production rate of 150,000 this year. So that is awesome. Now the Mach-E sales are also up. So Ford's overall vehicle sales, Ford Blue, Ford Pro, and Model E, as well as Lincoln, totaled 475,906 units. That's up 10.1% from 1 year ago. Now, Ford also did really well with trucks. They're up 19.6%. Electric vehicles up 41%. That is very strong sales numbers. Truck sales up 19.6% right there. SUVs up 47.6%. Bronco brand up 18.3%. The Ford Pro Transit van up 86%. And guess what? We've got good news for all you EV fans. For all you EV fans out there, production of the F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E continues to scale to target annual run rates of 150,000 units and 210,000 units respectively. So 210,000 units for the Mach-E right there. Gorgeous vehicle. I do prefer the premium model, but Ford sales are actually unbelievably strong. America's #1 brand. So when you see certain videos that aren't using data to cover this, like this data right here, well, maybe it's worth not listening or cross-referencing, because here at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, we cover the real deal. So if you want the real deal, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, because we cover the real deal here. We use data. If you come across channels that aren't using data, please be very, very wary of them. We source all our data And interesting data, Bronco is actually drawing in 60% of their sales from people from other brands. And guess what brands? Jeep's in trouble. Jeep is in a whole lot of trouble because 60% of Bronco sales come from other brands and mostly from actually specific models, the Wrangler and the Grand Cherokee. Ford did a great job on the Bronco, and for 2024 we should have some very nice refreshes to help, you know, fix some of those problems that we've been complaining about, Bronco owners. You know, I've owned Marie and I each owned one, so I've owned 2 Broncos. I can say that I was the one paying. And, you know, little known fact, Consumer Reports actually rated Ford's Blue Cruise as the top rated active driving assist system. So I know I've complained about it from time to time, but I've also talked about the negative and the positive. I've talked about how the updates have made my Blue Cruise a lot better lately. Hasn't randomly braked, randomly, when it considered that my eyes were off the road. But in the morning I do drive with eyes that are open about this much, and it wasn't good enough for the system, but now it is. So that's what you need to know about Ford. Ford isn't doomed. They're actually doing a fantastic job. Dealerships, yes, you're going to see vehicles on lots, and we're not used to seeing vehicles on lots. The last 2 years, no vehicles on the lots. People automatically assumed, wow, they're selling a ton, there's none left. Now that there are vehicles on the lots, people are assuming, and big, huge YouTubers getting millions of views are assuming because Ford has vehicles on the lots, that means they're not selling any. And because Toyota has next to no vehicles on the lots, it's because they're having a fantastic sales year. Actually, Toyota is producing less vehicles, and because of that lack of supply, a lot of their dealers are having, you know, market adjustment fees, mostly hidden in way overpriced accessories and services added on that you have to take. That's not great, folks. On this channel, of course, we talk about how to shop and buy vehicles because we want to save you thousands. That's the JCCR team, and actually the whole community here helps each other out with really helpful information in the comments section. So if you want to partake and be part of a community that actually helps each other out instead of just bashing and trashing, we actually look to help each other out in the comments. So join. We're a good community. We're a friendly community. Now that covers all the information we need to cover. Ford sales are way, way up, but I do predict coming up in June, we're gonna have monthly payments come down a little because we're either gonna have some rebates, like right now, rebates on the F-150. You've got $4,750 off the F-150. Escape and Edge, they're around the $3,000 to $4,000 mark. So we do have rebates, or, you know, the Mustangs I showed you just earlier, incredible interest rates, extremely low interest rates. Now for those vehicles that aren't actually available, like the Ford Ranger, we don't have any for sale. Well, the interest rates are a little higher because they are scarce. The Ford Bronco, the interest rate is at 7.99%. I don't know if I can take possession of my Bronco if these interest rates don't come down. And actually, any Bronco that's going to be made after, I believe it's July 10th, is going to be affected by some pretty major changes. Now, Tim Bartz has already made a video on that from Long MacArthur Ford. You can check out his video. I'm going to be covering it once I have my order guide printed off, because I want to make sure that I get everything just spot on and perfect. But essentially, we've got some big changes, it looks like, such as the Wild Track coming in only with leather, the base and the Big Ben coming in with marine grade vinyl only, no more cloth. And now when you take that front steel bumper, it looks like you're not going to automatically have skid plates. So we're going to go through all those little details once I print off my order guide. I want to make sure we get this spot on, and stay tuned because we're also going to be talking about the Tacoma, the brand new Tacoma. We predicted what it would come with, and we predicted right. No more V6. We also predicted a hybrid engine. We've got that, but it's a 4-cylinder, and some of those buttons are still plasticky, but the new Tacoma fixes a lot of the issues, problems that we had with it, and still maintain some common complaints such as the plasticky cheap buttons. but the screens are finally up to date, and even more than up to date, they look awesome. So stay tuned. I'm pretty excited about the new Tacoma. Of course, I cover all the Ford info you need to know. I wish you all more cars and more power. Take care, folks, and have a great weekend.